This is episode 9 of Post Production Podcast. Hello and welcome, all you amazing people out there, to Post Production Podcast. Thank you for joining us as we talk about the latest in movies, TV, and gaming news. We have a little bit of a nostalgia episode that we're doing today. Also going to talk about a current film and as well as some trailers. I'm your host, Mr. Drew, and here with me, of course, is our co-host, Adam.
What's up, Drew?
What up?
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Good.
All right, so let's get into a quick thing. So we had the Infinity War trailer drop, and everyone just geeked out, like crazy geeked out, to the point of the most watched trailer ever.
Yeah, I forgot how many views there were, but easily broke the record for most views in 24 hours, which, I mean, it's not surprising when you think about it, but I mean, I contributed to about 50% of that, so.
Well, it's interesting because I didn't know that it was dropping at a specific time, but I guess a lot of people did. So they were up at 5:30 in the morning, ready for this thing to go.
Well, that was me. I kept refreshing the page, the Marvel Studios YouTube page, and also the Russo brothers. I follow them on Instagram, and they were kind of hinting. They were posting like a 3, 2, 1 kind of thing. So I was waiting for them. So I didn't see it on YouTube. Then I went back to Instagram, was refreshing that, and then the Rooster Brothers had dropped like a clip of it and then said, watch the full one on YouTube. Go back to YouTube and it's still not there. So it took like a few minutes to get on, but I think easily this is probably the best trailer of the year. For me, it's my favorite trailer of the year.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, thinking back, like even the Star Wars trailer, even the last Jedi trailer that we got, this beats that for me, at least.
You know what? I can see that, and I have to agree with you on that point because, with Star Wars, we've been looking forward to it. Everybody's doing all this different things. Infinity War, I think
we don't know anything.
Nobody knows anything, and everybody got a preview of it at D23 when Disney had their little con. But after that, there's some kind of snippets here and there, but nobody really talking about it because everyone's talking about Thor, and then everybody's talking about Justice League, and all these other things have come out. And then we have the Black Panther trailers have been coming out, and we're looking forward to that. And then they slip this in there, and it's looking good, man. I like the way it's looking.
Yeah, everything looks good. And did you look at the leaked footage beforehand, or did you kind of?
I saw the rough version of the D23 one, so I thought that was the one that was going to come out, and then there were some scenes in that were in this new one. There weren't some scenes in it. There's a lot of things that were still held out, so I'm looking forward to how this is going to play out in the actual movie.
I'm happy that, thinking back on it, I think it's smart that they released it. It's about 3 weeks after Thor came out, so a lot of people have seen Thor, and if you've seen the trailer, I mean, you know that, spoilers for Thor Ragnarok, that he loses his eye, and that's something in the trailer that if you didn't go and see Thor Ragnarok, you'd probably be confused by, but they waited for enough people to see it, and the box office to kind of go down, and then put it, because some people were wondering, including me, why not just put it in front of Thor? But that's why.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of the trailer? Do you have a favorite part?
For me, I love Thanos.
Yeah.
I'm a Josh Brolin fan, so just when he popped out of that portal and he just had that kind of smirk on his face.
Oh yeah.
And that dialogue that's kind of overtoning the thing. I'm just like, yeah, man, this guy's.
Yeah,
and he should. I mean, he's a badass, so he should be able to walk in and be like, this sucks for you, but it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have a little bit. I like how he's like, this shouldn't put a smile on my face. I shouldn't have fun doing this, but
But yeah,
I'm having fun.
exactly.
I'm like, yeah,
I love that line.
go villain.
I love that line. And what's cool is that, and everyone always talks about how Marvel is like, funny and quippy and all that stuff, but there's none of that in this trailer. They're really making it serious and making it, you can tell that the stakes are high, and that's what I liked about it.
Well, I hope they keep that through the movie, because that was one of my big things about Thor. Yeah, it was great movie. It's a fantastic movie. It's action packed, but it's an action comedy. And then with the title of Ragnarok, of being the end of the end of days, the apocalypse of that culture, they kind of really made light of it. So I hope
when you
they
look
don't,
at
they keep this serious tone with Infinity
Absolutely.
War, because it is. I mean, he should. I don't think this is spoilers. I don't think this is going to happen, but he should kill everyone.
yeah. Well, people are already speculating on who's going to die. Some people are saying Iron Man. Some people are saying Spider-Man. Because there are a few people that you see in the New York scene that you don't see in the Wakanda scene, which is kind of interesting. But like Doctor Strange isn't in the Wakanda scene.
No.
Spider-Man's not over there. Who else is not in this? Hawkeye isn't even in the trailer.
Hawkeye's not in the trailer.
So people are saying he's going to die, which he's probably a good candidate.
I think he's a good candidate. I think Iron Man, they're going to kill Iron Man. Maybe not in this one, but I think because there's no Infinity War 2, there's Avengers 4.
Yeah, we don't know the title of it, but some people are speculating that it's going to be called Secret Wars, which is the kind of the follow-up comic book name of the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, I believe. That's also the storyline where like Spider-Man gets his black suit, so that could be in that movie. But yeah, originally this was supposed to be Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, but they changed that. I think they changed that when like Civil War was coming out.
Yeah.
So.
And I know that I think it was one of the Disney executives or the Marvel executives that had kind of tweeted out that in Avengers 4, some story arcs are going to come to a close. So basically, some people are going to die, and there will be some ending of some of these characters.
Yeah,
so,
and there's also, the contracts. Look at it from a behind-the-scenes point. The contracts of these actors, like Tony Stark and whoever else, Scarlett Johansson, and they're getting a little older, and we're kind of rushing into this new generation of superheroes. So I would love if Iron Man died.
Well, he's getting old.
Yeah, he really is, and he could retire and just he can do like a Spider-Man Homecoming thing in every other movie where he kind of he cameos and whatever,
shows up to do a little mentoring.
But I think that should go to Captain America. I think he deserves to live. But I'm kind of torn on who I want to die. I think I need to think about it a little more and kind of know a little bit more about it. But
I don't. I mean, he may deserve to live, but I don't think his character story so far. Because I mean, at the end of Civil War, he was like pretty much done. I mean, he didn't really. He was kind of out of the limelight now. So he's coming back in Infinity War, but I think his attitude is just like, look, man, I'm done. I'm tired.
Yeah,
but maybe he'll die and Winter Soldier will take over.
Yeah, that probably will.
Which is one of the Marvel arcs.
Yeah, exactly. That would be really cool. That was actually one of my favorite parts of the trailer, was seeing Captain America with his beard and his longer hair. That was like a really cool moment to me. But yeah, like going back to like the tone of this movie, I think it is going to be serious because the Russo brothers, they did the two most serious movies in the Marvel universe, which was the Winter Soldier and Civil War, and they do have funny moments, but they're not like comedies like
it's not a
Thor
comedy, like a Thor,
But anyway, like it's a great trailer. Yeah. My favorite trailer of the year.
And I can't stop but point out that the way they dropped this trailer really shows you that they know what they're doing to bring all these different story arcs and all these things together into one movie. Yeah. Versus
don't say it.
Justice League.
Don't say DC.
And it's like, oh my god,
it's
such a big contrast. And it's like,
it really is though.
Hey guys, this is how you do it. Okay.
Yeah. It's funny because they dropped this trailer right after this whole debacle of Justice League, and you can really tell that no one really cared about Justice League. Like, no one went to go see it. Like, people who, like, general audiences, they go to see Marvel movies because they know that it's going to be good. But DC, they were spoiled with BVS. After BVS, I think they had some trust issues, and so now they're going into Justice League. If you can't get Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, all of those people in a movie, and you can't beat Thor Ragnarok, then that's terrible.
That is terrible.
So
because Thor's not even a major kind of Marvel character.
Exactly. No,
I mean, in all the kind of in the rating system at least.
And what's cool is that Marvel, the Marvel universe started out with Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, and for me at least, I had no idea. I mean, I wasn't interested in those characters at all, but the cinematic version of Captain America made me like his character so much that now he's one of my favorite superheroes. But I haven't read a Captain America comic. I've only seen him in the MCU, but he's one of my favorite on-screen heroes. So the fact that they can do that to a character that I had no interest in beforehand, like, that really shows you something. But the fact that they can ruin Superman and Batman, who you spend your whole life knowing, it's interesting. But it's whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
great trailer. If you haven't seen it, see it.
One more thing.
Geek out about it.
I love the very end where Thor's like, who the hell are you guys?
Oh, yeah.
And the Guardians are like, hey. I love that. And I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. The second one just dropped on Netflix, so I'm going to probably rewatch that.
It's so good.
It's really
so
funny.
Much fun.
Yeah.
So we went and saw probably, in my opinion, one of the best movies of the year so far, which is probably Disney's Pixar animation, Coco. Yeah. What a great movie.
It really is. Pixar was kind of in a decline a little bit. People don't really like the Cars movies. They're very kid-based, kid-friendly movies that maybe, it's not on the same level of a Coco or The Incredibles we were talking about. And I think this is probably one of my top 5 Pixar movies.
Easily,
yeah. This is them going back to form. This is them... this is an instant classic, basically. I think so. I think it's... For me, it's probably the best looking Pixar movie I've ever seen. I mean, the amount of detail, the amount of, everything, I absolutely loved. It's so cinematic, and the fact that it's animated it's so cool and so mind-blowing when you're watching it on the big screen.
You can really see the progression of technology in this film where animation is involved, because it is so detailed and colorful. I mean, I was just like, I'm watching a real movie. This is this is all real. And the only time it hit me that it wasn't is when, the character, even the skeletal characters, I was like, yeah, man, that's legit, and then you see the little boy and you're like, oh, okay, wait, yeah, I am watching an animated film.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of people, they were a little bit stuck on whether it was because it looks very similar to the Book of Life that came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
Which was good as well.
But I didn't see that movie, but I've heard that it's apple and oranges.
Yeah,
basically.
There's it's two totally different storylines and kind of scenes, but the look, the of it, at least with the land of the dead, and then the people are all skeletons. That kind of thing was a little bit similar. But wow, what a great movie! And the emotional investment in this movie is real.
Amazing, yeah.
It is so good.
Yeah.
I got to give it up to Pixar, because this is easily my favorite Pixar movie.
Really?
And I can't put Toy Story in that same listing, because Toy Story is an absolute classic, and that was the breakthrough movie in animation. Yeah. So I mean, that's always going to be the number one. You just can't. It's in a completely different league. Everything else after that you can rate and you can put in a list, I think. But Toy Story was like, Yeah, man, this is what we're going to do, and this is the direction that this animation is going to go for the next 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
You know, so this is like the epitome of what we're going to do.
Because Toy Story came out in 95, so it's 22 years old right now.
Yeah.
It's as old as me. um, back then, I mean, it looked so good back then. It still looked really good, but you can see the progression of how, how Pixar does it. And they're still leagues ahead of any animation studio.
By far.
Yeah, like it's amazing. But yeah, again, like the cinematics of this animated movie is so impressive. Every little detail, him playing the guitar, like that little scene with him playing the guitar in front of the TV, like I thought that looked so good, and I was like just marveling at everything. The Land of the Dead with all the lights and
amazing sceneries. Amazing sceneries. They did a great job. Do you want to talk a little bit about spoilers or? Because there's just a couple little things I want to talk about, but I don't want to ruin it for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should probably hold off.
I just really kind of spoilers.
Okay, we got to talk about it though.
Spoilers. I mean, the storyline was fantastic, and there were a couple of twists and turns. I guess I don't really have to spoil anything. There was just a couple of twists that I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't expecting that, because it was really taking you down this road, and you're going, okay, cool, this is going to happen.
I don't.
And then wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God! And then it really jerks your emotional investment even more than that. So
exactly.
And I guess that there's not spoilers.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to do. Is I didn't want to even give the option of spoiling it to anyone who's like, oh, I didn't see it, but I'll listen anyway. To I don't really care about spoilers, but you should, because this is a really good movie, and you should absolutely go see it. There's some twists that I love and that really elevate the story. Yeah, go watch this movie.
Please go watch it. They deserve your patronage on this movie. It is so worth it. So, and I got to do this. I have to put this quip in. But watching this movie and watching the professionalism of animation in this movie, it just made me even hate Justice League even more. That they couldn't even get their CGI to even a mediocre level compared to this movie.
No, I would say...
Sorry, I have to dump on Justice League more. Because, we watched Justice League, and then the next week we watched Coco, and I'm going, couldn't they hire some of these people to do the lip? Just to do a lip. It would have been a better looking lip if it was a skeletal lip, I swear.
They have this, Superman has, a car mouth. From Cars. Lighting.
It's just a grill. It's just a grill that moves. His two eyes are headlights. He's like, yes, I am the hope of the world. Okay. Oh, so good. So good.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. The bashing is real.
It really is.
Okay, so you spent the week going back in time, and you watched the Matrix Trilogy.
For the first time ever. And
oh boy.
It was an experience, to say the least.
Okay. So, quick question.
Yeah.
Did you watch them all in a row? One after the other? Did you watch the first one and then watch the second one and the third one in different days?
Well, we've been talking about watching The Matrix, at least for me, watching The Matrix for the first time for a little bit. So my brother, it's one of his favorite movies, so he wanted to watch it with me. So I think it was we watched it together one night, and then the next day I watched the next two.
Okay.
Because I had the day off and I was doing nothing, so I saw the next two. But I was thoroughly impressed with the first one.
Okay. Which many people were. Like, most people love the first Matrix.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
And I've heard that the two, and going into this, to be honest, I've heard that the two follow-ups were not on the same par as The Matrix. So I kind of went into those movies with those expectations. So I knew that The Matrix was going to be good and the other two were going to be worse, probably. but I wanted to see for myself.
Okay.
I will say that I think the quality is kind of in a descending order. It goes best, second best, worst.
Which is usual with a series,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
I guess. I mean, it shouldn't be that way. I think it should be kind of all on the same level. If it dips, I think the third one should, you know, and this is a problem with trilogies in general. Like sometimes the sequel is better than the first, sometimes, which is very rare.
Very, very rare.
But
It's
usually
very
it
rare.
dips.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, for this trilogy, like after seeing the Matrix, when the credits rolled, I was like, wow. Like, what is it? Like 18 years later? Yeah, it came out
Well,
in
it came out in
99.
'99.
So yeah,
So yeah, 18.
I mean, it's one of the most impressive movies that I've seen, and it's cool because I've heard so much about it, and it has affected pop culture so much. There's so many references to it throughout everything you watch. You know, the last 18 years have been filled with Matrix references, and what's cool is that I didn't know a lot about it. Surprisingly, all I knew was people in black leather and sunglasses dodging bullets and like take the red pill, blue pill kind of thing.
Hmm.
I knew of those kinds of things, but what was surprising to me was that I wasn't spoiled on the actual premise of the movie. I had no idea that there was this whole underlying thing that like, yeah, the real world is not this world.
Yeah, it's
Like,
just a program.
which yeah, I mean, and that still is like mind blowing to me that that wasn't spoiled for me in these 18 years. Like
It's
no one,
actually kind of really surprising.
yeah, isn't it? So like while watching this movie, I had the same experience basically as anyone else watching this movie for the first time back in '99, because at that point where he, spoilers by the way, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Of course.
yeah. If you haven't seen it by now, wah.
Yeah.
It's just wah. You know.
um, but that scene where he bursts out of his pod and unplugs and they come and get him, that was so mind blowing to me. My brother always says whenever something weird happens, he's like, "Yeah, it's a glitch in the Matrix," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, deja vu.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know what that means. But yeah, overall, like very impressed with the first movie. Like I know why it's a classic. I know why so many people hold it at such a high, quality of movie because it really is.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. I remember in '99 when I saw it in the theater. I actually went with my sister at the time to like a pre-screening. So it was before it was even out, and I had no idea what I was seeing. She was just like, "Hey, let's go watch this movie. I get these free tickets." I'm like, "All right, cool. Whatever." You know, we sat down, we started watching it, and in the theater after that first scene with Trinity, and she just kicks the shit out of everybody, and then there's like a pause. I was like, "Oh fuck yeah," And I said that out loud in the theater, and everyone was like, "Yep," because you'd never seen anything like that so far, and that movie blew my mind. It was just like, yes, give me more.
Yeah, what's cool about it is that 18 years later, the fight choreography and the fight scenes are still some of the best things I've ever seen. So yeah, it was really an experience to watch this movie for the first time because now I can join in with everyone else, referring to how great this movie is because it really is.
Now you have the verbiage.
I have the verbiage. I have the inside jokes and so I have that knowledge. So, and then we have the two other ones,
Right.
Which
So it's good that you did a day between because you really got to enjoy and digest the first one
yeah
before going into the second and the third.
And
Which
I found myself doing that. I found myself kind of, man, that's like hours later, even right before watching the second one, I was like, man, The Matrix was so good. It was so good. But yeah, so I went into Reloaded and then Revolutions, and I honestly didn't know which one came out first, so I had to look it up. I'm just gonna, on the internet. I was like, okay, Reloaded, and then I noticed that both of them both of them came out in 2003, which was very interesting to me. So there was 4 years between the first and second, but basically they used 4 years to make 2 movies.
Yeah.
I don't think they needed to make 2 movies. I think they probably could have.
You think they could have wrapped it up in one?
I think they could have.
Probably.
Yeah. My problems with the second and third one, my favorite parts of the first one were when they were in the Matrix, and the journey of Neo. Is he the one? Is he not the one? But in the second and third one, everyone knows he's the one. We have all of these side characters that I don't really care enough about. I think Link was the only one that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
The new, of the newer editions.
Right.
But
he was fun.
Yeah,
he had some good comedy moments.
And I actually like that they had that he was the brother of the other two in the first movie. Or
Tank.
no, cousin. He was the cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that kind of tidbit. I thought that was really cool. But I think it really gets bogged down by all this extra stuff. And thinking back on it, Reloaded wasn't even that bad to me. Like it really wasn't. It's watchable, and I would probably watch it again because it still has the entertainment value.
It's fun.
It is fun.
I mean, I really liked the introduction of the I'm gonna murder this the Michelovian. Oh my god, the
French guy.
The French guy. Yeah, the French guy.
The Frenchman. What's his name? I have it.
Michael Vingian. Michael Vin. I just murdered it. Anyways, yeah. But the French guy, I loved his character. The introduction of him in that restaurant, and he's just spitting that French out, and just so suave.
Yeah, when that scene came on, I mean, the actual scene, I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, but him as an actor, his performance actually was, pretty intriguing, and I find that entertaining. But a common problem with sequels, because like you said, like you didn't know anything about the Matrix, when you first watched it. No one knew how successful this would become. So the budget wasn't huge. The Wachowskis had to do this incredible movie on kind of a tight budget, but if the original movie gets a very warm reception, they'll up the budget on the second one.
Right.
And sometimes that works to their disadvantage because they go, oh, we have all this money, let's spend it on CGI and effects and everything like that. And they definitely did, because there's a lot more CGI. A lot of people reference like the kind of rubber people, that really bad CGI of
yeah,
them
true. But I mean, you have to understand at that period of time,
but
there wasn't a whole lot of really great CGI when it came to dubbing somebody in.
But also, they didn't need to, because they showed in the Matrix, in the first one, that they didn't need to do all that. They were trying to up the kind of wow factor of the fights.
Yeah.
And they CGI'd total, like, actual people, whereas they didn't add a little bit of CGI, just to enhance something. But the full, like, that one scene where Neo is fighting, like, all the Smiths.
Yeah.
Like, all of them are CGI, and it looks like a video game. And even for that time, like, they didn't need to do that, because in the first Matrix, there were fight scenes that looked amazing, and all of the actual filmed choreography and kung fu, that still looks amazing. For even Reloaded, all of that is still great. But it's when they kind of go into that full CG mode that I was like, oh, that doesn't look.
I see that, but I mean, I gotta dissect the scene and say, you've got hundreds of the same person coming out fighting one dude. So how do you do that without CGI?
But there are points in that fight where
it switches back and forth.
Because there. By the way, that scene kind of went on a little too long for me.
Yeah, it was very long.
Halfway through that, I was like,
okay,
why
get on
doesn't
with
he just fly away?
Yeah.
Halfway through it, I was like, yeah, this should be over and he should be gone. As soon as he saw, like, everyone, like, all of those Smiths coming, he should have been like, gone.
Peace out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what makes it even worse is that he actually does that, but he just waits another, 10 minutes to do it. It's not really 10 minutes, but it felt like it,
let's talk about the overall arcing storyline. So, when he finally gets into this door, and he's sitting and he's standing in the room with all the TVs, and there's a dude in white, and he just explains everything.
Yeah.
Did you follow it? Like, were you able to kind of digest what was going on? Because a lot of people are like, I am fucking lost. I am absolutely I have no idea what's going on.
So, I'm gonna. So for a lot of, so there's a point in Matrix Reloaded that I felt like it was kind of dragging. So I watched it on 1.5 speed. I had it on subtitles so I could follow, and like it was working for me. It was like I couldn't even really notice. But as soon as that scene happened and the architect started talking, I was like, oh, I gotta go back. I gotta watch this and really pay attention. But I was like, okay, so this is like the 5th version or something like that of the Matrix. He's not the only one that's ever lived.
I think he was the 7th iteration.
So, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I think that makes sense that, and I think they kind of talked about that in the first one where the Matrix wasn't always like that. At first, the Matrix was like a perfect world.
Right.
But people didn't fall for that.
No.
So
people need despair and agony and pain and loss to seem real. It's not, and everyone who wants, I want world peace, it's never going to work.
Yeah. And
it's never going to happen.
When they said that, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Because if everything was perfect, I would question my reality. I would say, is this even real? But the fact that they put that in, like, yeah, people need, death and destruction and all these horrible things to base their reality on. I thought that was really interesting, and I guess you have to get to that point somehow. So, 5, 6, or 7 versions, to this version of the Matrix, it makes sense, but.
And the whole idea of that is a massive rabbit hole to go down.
Oh, yeah.
Because that just goes into psychology and the human genome and all that other stuff. But getting into the white room, with the dude, and he's just like, yeah, this is just another form of control, man. We've destroyed Zion 7 times. We're actually really good at it by this point. It's become pretty much easy.
Yeah.
You just need to go down there, pick some friends. Peace out.
Yeah, at that point I was confused, and I was kind of like, I just kind of took it how it was, decided to be like, okay, let's see where this goes. But it is, a much smaller scale story, and this is a thing, again, sequels kind of fall into this trap of they have to explain the world now. Like where they only referred to Zion in the first one, now you actually see it. Now you have to see how it works. There's a council. There's a bunch of captains. There are a whole bunch of other ships where in the first one you only saw the Nebuchadnezzar. Right. So you kind of have to have those things if you're gonna, progress the story on. But I found myself being kind of bored with the other two. Maybe I'm just not at that level of thinking. Some people would probably be like, you don't even get it, but make it more interesting. Make it easier to follow and make it simpler. I know, because the Matrix, it's philosophical and it's mind-blowing, but you can follow it, and even when they, pull the rug out from under you, you still can follow. But like now you bring me this architect and all this stuff, and you're like, and yeah, I was like, okay, whatever. What are your thoughts on it? I mean,
I loved all the movies. I mean, the first one is by far the best. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I when I watched it and I followed the storyline, I followed the psyche of the movie. I enjoyed it. I loved that whole kind of that subculture of, this is all just a control program. It's all a computer matrix. It's all in your head. It's all here to get you to just do one thing.
Yeah.
And I love the manipulation of that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that at the end, it's like, you're just going to have to just deal with it. It's going to end. You know, we're gonna destroy you. We're gonna take the city. We've done it so many times. We're bored that we have to do it again. But you know, this is the cycle of everything. And the only thing that stopped that was the fact that Smith presented such a glitch to the original program.
Yeah.
You know, which gave them an out. You know, I think at the end, I think it wrapped up a little too quickly because, you know, which I think for a lot of other people out there that really got into the psychological parts of the movie, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right? Because, yeah, you have a computer program where Smith is running amok and doing whatever, and he's able to kind of bridge the gap and go back and forth.
Yeah.
So knowing that if they can't get rid of him in the program, he's going to get out and he's going to corrupt everything in the real world, all the machines and everything.
Yeah.
You know, I get that. But at the same point, he's still just a computer program. So everything that incorpses the Matrix in that, you know, whether it's, you know, a whole city of servers or whatever holds that program, you can just absolutely delete it and delete everything in there and destroy that part. And that would have done it.
Uh-huh.
Of course, they would have had to, you know, rebuild it and redo the whole thing over again. But, you know, they kind of, okay, here's this happy ever after ending, which if the machines are pure machines, you know, they would have realized that, yeah, it's a happy ending. But at the end of everything, humans are going to be humans.
Yeah.
They're still going to want to destroy, corrupt it, overtake, and try to dominate us again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we may have peace now for a few days, few years, few generations.
It could,
But sooner or later, we're going to have to put you back under control.
And that's the thing, is that, you know, you realize that this is a machine world and they had taken over and humans had to go to this underground city and make this thing for themselves. And at the very end, there's all of these machines kind of, you know, scurrying around, and it doesn't seem like they're the machines that took over the world. It doesn't seem like they're, I don't know, I felt like they kind of downplayed the intelligence of the machines, because they just sent a bunch of, you know, people, or not people, but machines to just get shot at and whatever, and they can just go down with an EMP. I think they use EMPs too much.
Yeah.
They use it in every movie, I believe.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, if that's the only way you can defeat them, I guess, but I think it got a little old for me, at least.
Well, I mean, when you're faced with a mechanical threat, a computerized, you know, mechanical threat,
and if it's a proven method,
you know, you've got the oh my goodness, what is his name from from Independence Day, the computer guy. He was in Thor at the end of Thor. He was the dude in Thor. The oh my god, I'm so just blanking right now. He was the game master in Thor.
Oh,
Ragnarok.
Now the brain fart has.
I know, right? It
has transferred to me.
It's contagious. Oh, I can't think of. Oh, Jurassic Park. Oh man, now I gotta look it up. You're killing me. This is gonna be a major cutscene. Jeff Goldblum. Goldblum. You know.
I don't know why. That always happens to me with him. I can never remember.
I can never remember his name. But so you know, either you have Jeff Goldblum to, you know, plant the virus on some alien technology.
What are you talking about? He wasn't in this movie.
No, he wasn't. But you're talking about the threat of mechanicals, right? Of like robots coming after you and stuff like that. So it's either an EMP to disable their mechanicals, or you get Jeff Goldblum to like, you know, implant the virus.
Okay.
It's so side tangent.
I really was not.
There's
following.
a method to the madness.
Okay.
The madness will be explained.
Okay.
But yeah, there's not. You know, what else do? You have something that's superior, that's faster, stronger, impervious to pretty much everything that you can do as a human being,
guess.
because you're just pretty much a squishy meat sack.
But see, I think they took it from the psychological, amazing kung fu masterpiece in the first one to a bunch of people in robot suits shooting guns at machines. And
I thought the little war machines that they walked around, I thought those were pretty cool. I thought those were really neat.
I think that probably was. For me, 18 years later or 15 years later, whatever it is now, with Revolutions, I've seen that before in a few other things, and like Avatar and whatnot, have all had those machines. So for me, it's a little overdone at this point. So I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
But honestly, in Revolutions, I was bored out of my mind. Like, I really was. Reloaded, though, I found a lot of things that I liked in that movie. I thought they expanded it to a point where I was like, okay, I could kind of get into this. I liked the backdoors, like the Keymaster or the Keymaker, all of that. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I like how Neo's dreams, actually came true, and he had to save Trinity.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of
I liked how they plugged in there the fact that, anytime you've ever heard of a vampire or a werewolf or a ghost, it's a glitch in the Matrix. And you had like those two dudes where those guys were just creepy. They were super creepy.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of like one of the best side characters that they put into that, because it just you're just thinking about, okay, how do you get rid of these guys that can just kind of poof?
Yeah, the fact that they can do, I mean, at a certain point, like on the freeway, that freeway chase, I was like, man, they're just, how are they even gonna get out of this? I felt like they didn't look very good, but as like villains and as an enemy, I was like, okay, this is actually threatening to a point.
Right. So now here's an interesting question. Now, living in Las Vegas, did you recognize the highway scene?
Oh, was that in Vegas?
That was shot. Yeah, that was shot in Vegas on 95.
Now that I think about it, with like the
walls and everything. Yep, that was shot on I'm pretty sure it was 95. Yeah.
Yeah, because now that I think about it, and that was before they like painted.
Mm-hmm. Right? That was before they painted it. It was all just gray.
You know what?
Walls.
Damn it! That one scene, like where they're on the motorcycle and they're going on the opposite direction, like on the side.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the 95 that you're referring to, right? Because I could see that. Yeah, a little Vegas thing for you guys.
Yeah, a little Vegas plug. I'm pretty sure. I'm like,
I could see that.
95% sure, unless somebody goes, 95. Yeah, you guys are bullshit.
That's cool though. That would be cool if that was true. Hopefully it is. Let's see. The music I thought was really cool, because they really lean into this cyberpunk electric kind of vibe in the Matrix, and I thought everything worked really well. Yeah, it wouldn't have worked with a regular cinematic score. I don't think so. No, not at all. Like with that classic like early 2000s like beat going, and like all of that stuff was like really cool. Something that I remembered was a few months ago, there was news from Warner Brothers that they were trying to do some like a new trilogy, or at least a new Matrix movie.
Oh, okay.
With Michael B. Jordan to star.
Okay, that would be fun to watch.
So that would be really interesting, right?
Yeah.
And so kind of the question,
because there's a lot you can do in that whole kind of universe. I mean, it's an open-ended thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be cool, and they say this in the first Matrix, is that I think the Matrix is based on like the peak of like humanity and like technology or whatever, like, or something like that. So it's based in 1999. So I think it would be cool, even if you had this movie come out in 2020 or whatever, when they go into the Matrix, it's still 1999. Everyone still dresses like that. You still have the leather and all that,
It should be, and that would be fun.
That'd be really cool. And that's the only time that is acceptable to me. That look. Pull that off in the Matrix, you can be, early 2000s.
There was nothing wrong with the look in 1999.
I mean,
You
it's
know?
not my favorite era.
The only thing I gotta say is there weren't any baggy britches with asses hanging out in 1999.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Don't you love that?
Oh yeah, I love walking down the street and look at somebody's underwear. It's fantastic. Thank you. Oh my god.
Everyone had shaven faces and what was that fashion? I can't even, because now you have everyone with beards and they're all tatted up and whatever, but everyone would look so different back then. It's funny to kind of compare.
Yeah.
But
well, Two Tone was a big hit. Two Tone was a big hit at that time.
I was 4 years old when The Matrix came out.
There were no faux hawks.
I don't even get that reference.
I don't even know.
I don't know.
You know what a faux hawk is?
Oh, faux hawk.
Yeah, the little faux.
I thought you said full hawk.
Oh no, sorry, faux hawk.
There were probably more mohawks than faux hawks.
Yeah, that was popular
back then.
Yeah. It was like, this is a real mohawk. I don't know what peeking your hair in the middle to look like the top of a roof.
I've never done a faux hawk.
I don't get it.
Did you ever do a faux
No,
hawk?
I never did one. I won't. Yeah, I can't do it.
Oh, I don't think it's ever coming back.
No. I still see people with it.
Oh man, they're stuck in 2005.
It's like, that's... Okay, whatever. I just want to put a ruler on the top and see if I can balance it. It's like you are now a seesaw.
I'm a fan of yeah, never mind. We're talking about faux hawks now.
So the interesting thing I was thinking about it, but I didn't want to give it to you when I gave you the first 3 movies. Because in 2003, they also came out with a side movie called The Animatrix.
Oh, I saw some things on IMDb
which is a bunch of short animated clips that a couple of them are prequels to The Matrix. A couple of them are kind of like bridge gaps between The Matrix, and a couple of them are just kind of like in the Matrix universe. So those are fantastic. And a lot of people were I think they were upset that this didn't come out before the 2 movies. Mm-hmm. I think it came out after the second one, but I'm not sure. But it's an interest, and this is where you can really blow up your mind into this whole Matrix universe. So I'm going to give that to you. That'll be your special, your goodie bag today.
Yeah, sweet. I love that.
And there's some great scenes in there, like some really good anime scenes.
That's cool. I think animation is it's overlooked. There are a lot of things you can do with animation, and so if you had that scene with Neo fighting all of those Smiths, if that was an animated, if they had
floated it into an anime, that would have been amazing.
Or even if they chose a different way in the movie, and then you had a scene like that in an animated short, that would be amazing, and that would be really cool. Same thing with Blade Runner, how they had that animated Blade Runner short. Mm-hmm. Before 2049 came out. It was cool, and it was a interesting look at the world, because you can do amazing and crazy things with animation, and in a world like the Matrix, that really lends itself to it.
I really hope that filmmakers incorporate animation, anime.
Yeah.
More into their movies. But I mean, I think people are still really most people are still kind of confused when they hear anime.
Yeah.
I think they just think, oh, it's like some kind of Japanese animated weird thing, or it's a cartoon, and they're not, that's just not something that intrigues them.
A lot of people still think that animation is a thing for kids.
Yeah.
They don't understand that, no, it's another form of media that adults can enjoy, and there are adult animes, and that's where people's love for anime comes from, is that they're not watching kid stuff.
They're watching adult. This is visceral adult. Oh, I got that in today. Visceral, my favorite word.
Oh, that's your favorite word.
I got it in. Woo, plug.
But
I think it's. I mean, it's still a form of media that's slowly gaining popularity.
Well, I mean, anime has been around for a long time, and like you were saying, is that I think you were saying a lot of people a lot of directors and filmmakers should incorporate anime or animated scenes into their movies a little more. One of my favorite examples of that is Kill Bill. That's probably one of my favorite parts of the Kill Bill, at least the first movie. Is there any in the second? I think there's more in the second, maybe. But no, it's the first
It's
one.
just the first one
where they kind of go into the backstory of I forgot her name. Like, I have to commend Quentin Tarantino on putting that in, because that's some people, that's some of their first anime that they've ever watched. They've never,
outside of a
wanted to
cartoon, outside of a Bugs Bunny Roadrunner cartoon.
they've never seen a Japanese style anime, or like an adult animated,
scene or
scene.
or any kind of genre or any kind of medium.
But the way that like Quentin Tarantino incorporated that scene as a backstory, you don't have to recast a little girl to do these scenes, and also you can't really, because the actual scenes that and the themes that we're talking about, to do that with an actual
little girl
like
that would have been uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So it was the right choice, and it was the best choice, and I think people should do a little animated kind of scene in their movies if it works.
If it works, yeah.
I think it really.
I mean, especially with a lot of these sci-fi movies,
Yeah.
maybe not the superhero movies so much, because a lot of that is they're already pretty much all CGI.
Yeah.
But
I like the kind of
I mean, honestly, I could see a Marvel or a DC movie like switching back and forth between an anime medium and live action medium. That would be interesting to see.
Yeah, like, or
because
even...
they could really get into a lot more of not only the costumes, but into some of the things where, it looks like a guy flying on cables versus, this is a dude that just has the power to levitate or float or fly, and it looks more natural because you're seeing it without thinking about the guys on cables.
Yeah, without thinking about the actual like effects and whatever. You can see it just as a cartoon, as a animated version, and just be like, oh yeah, you take all of that stigma out, and you take all of that other thoughts out. But like, you take a scene like the scene in Thor Ragnarok where like that flashback scene with like Valkyrie fighting Hela with the lighting and the slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
That looked beautiful. But if they would have done like an animated flashback,
they could have. That would have worked. That would have looked intense as well.
Yeah,
because I think a lot of people, they don't understand that anytime they think anime or animation in that type of medium, they think it's cartoony. And it's like, no, man, some of this anime is very gritty. It's very sharp. It's dark. It's edgy, and it can really, just like in Kill Bill, it can give your movie that extra little oomph of holy crap, what am I watching? This is intense.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Another scene that's kind of like that is in like the Harry Potter, I forget which one it is, either the Half-Blood Prince or maybe the Deathly Hallows, where I think it probably is the Deathly Hallows, where they explain what the Deathly Hallows is, the wand, the stone, and the cloak, and that's all like an animated kind of silhouetted thing. Like, things like that in movies I really appreciate,
which is another form of animation which people don't get. Because that was almost like a watercolor storybook type of animation, which is which is still another form of medium, which is still useful, and you can cut that into so many different things.
Another one that did that was Wonder Woman. I think in the beginning it looked like Renaissance paintings.
I really liked how they did that. That was amazing. Really cool.
But that was another version of like,
it was almost like a stop caption or
like a stop motion
type thing, which was incredible. But anyway, so wrapping up the Matrix trilogy, did you like it? I mean, at the end of everything, you're like, okay, cool, I get it, I like it. The first one's still incredible.
The Matrix, I mean, the first Matrix, I think it kind of requires. I mean, I don't actually think it requires multiple viewings, but I think with every viewing, I could probably find more and more.
Right.
I actually found a lot of similarities with Inception with the Matrix. Whether it was the floating kind of choreography, them kind of flipping around, fighting. There are a lot of similarities, as in where you have to go under and go into this world to accomplish some kind of mission or whatever.
You almost have to submerge to a different level of reality. Yeah,
exactly. And seeing that, I saw, and there are a few other similarities with Inception. I was like, okay, but this was in 1999, and that's why this is so impressive that this happened way before Inception. And so, yeah, I mean, The Matrix, amazing movie. Reloaded, I think I could still watch. I'll put that in the background, or maybe I'll watch it, put some popcorn on.
Right. If you were flipping through the channels and it popped on and you were bored, you'd be like, yeah, I can watch this again.
Again, I think it would be a movie where I'd probably fast forward a few scenes, like maybe some Zion scenes I don't really care about.
When I watch 1,000 people thumping around in a cave, dancing like animals.
Yeah, not really. I could go downtown for that.
But they had some drums. They had drums.
That scene took a long time too.
Yeah, it was a while.
It was like, okay, they're all bumping and grinding while they're bumping uglies. Okay, this is.
But it was a good speech. I thought Lawrence Fishburne had a great speech.
I think we're talking about two different scenes. I'm talking about like them dancing while Neo and Trinity are like having.
Yeah, that was right after the speech. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He got them in the mood to bump and grind.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, we're human. Yeah, we're still here. Yeah, let's fornicate." Yeah.
But and I didn't know Carrie-Anne Moss. I was like, where is she from? And throughout the first movie, I was like, where is she from? I could see her face somewhere. I had to look it up, but I was like, I can literally picture a scene with you, and you have the same expression on your face. You're kind of like a bitch. You're kind of like rude and kind of snarky. I was like, okay, Jessica Jones. She's the lawyer from Jessica Jones. I mean, that's where I know her
Jessica Jones. She's in Iron Fist. She's actually even in Daredevil, the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she in Daredevil?
Because she's that lawyer that bridges all of those things.
Yeah. Jerry Hogarth is the character's name.
Yeah. Because she's actually the boss of Daredevil's, his buddy. Because at the end of the sorry, spoilers. At the end of the season of Daredevil, they separate and he goes to work for a firm, and
Foggy,
it's her firm. Foggy, yeah. That's her
Foggy
firm.
Nelson. Yeah. A cool little tidbit, but
yeah, Carrie-Anne Moss. Yum yum yum.
Yeah, she's great, and I think everyone was really great in the first one. You get into a little bit of maybe not as good actors in the other ones, and I think the dialogue really comes down a few levels for me. Those are problems I had with those movies as well, but ultimately, like, Revolutions I probably won't see again, because also, like, whatever, I'm gonna leave it there. Revolutions I could probably rant about, but I kind of don't care enough to do that.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, whatever. Yeah, if you haven't seen The Matrix, see it. I don't know why you're listening to this now, but see it because it's a real trip, and it's a real experience to watch it, and
it's definitely worth the watch.
It's a classic.
Yeah,
it really is. Unfortunately, the other two.
Yeah, I mean, the first one's a great movie. The second two, if you really want to bake your noodle a little bit, yeah, get into it. It's a good mind trip.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it.
All right, so we're gonna wrap that up.
Anything else?
Not much, man. I can't believe it's December.
Yeah, man, we got Star Wars coming up. We got a lot of awesome like Oscar movies coming out too. There are a lot of cool more indie movies coming out that will get the Oscar attention. And I'm gonna kind of make my rounds in the next couple of weeks and do that. So when Oscar season comes, I can take my picks. Coco's definitely going to win Best
I
Animated.
think
though.
Coco's going to sweep.
I don't think
the
anything
animated.
is even going to be coming close to that.
Well, we don't know because a lot of times in the Oscars they'll throw a couple of indie films on there that you won't see in the mainstream media. It'll only be like Sundance and small little venues that you'll see those things pop up, but they'll get recognition.
Absolutely.
Because I've seen quite a few of those win.
Yeah.
And you're like, I have no idea where this came from.
But at least like last year, I think it was like Zootopia, for animated at least, it was Zootopia and Moana, which I think actually Zootopia, I think maybe won.
I think Zootopia won something.
No,
Moana didn't win anything. It just wasn't up to that par.
Well, what's funny is that a lot of people thought it was, but I was one of the people who said Zootopia was actually way better than Moana. I think it's a better film. It's a more entertaining film. Yeah. It's a better story.
It's a better story. It's a better. I mean,
you watched it though, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, you got this whole city by animals, and it's interesting the way they kind of mix everything. That was a great movie.
It was a great movie for kids. There was a lot of themes that are realistic in today's society as well, with prejudice and all that stuff. So I thought
DMV scene is fantastic.
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. Yeah. And I actually saw a photo of someone for Halloween. They went into the DMV dressed as a sloth.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was so funny. I was like, "Go, bro, man! That's so kudos."
But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. So next week we're looking forward to geeking out over Star Wars coming up next week.
Yeah, I think what we'll do for an episode is, since we're kind of going back, we'll kind of rank the existing
7 movies.
Yeah, not including. Do you want to include Rogue One? I think we'll talk about it.
I mean we have to talk about it. I mean, it's a Star Wars movie,
so
it's a bridge. It's a bridger movie. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. We'll do our official ranking. Our personal rankings of the Star Wars movies. Do our final predictions of The Last Jedi, if you want to do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm still avoiding all the trailers and stuff. Like, I was watching a YouTube video, and it was one of those ads that you can't skip. It was like a 15-minute thing, or a 15-second ad, and I literally closed my eyes and muted the the monitor. I was like, I don't want to see this right now.
They really haven't spoiled too much, I don't think.
But for me, it's the visuals. It's I don't even want to see this scene of like a
space battle or anything at all. You just want to be surprised completely.
I just want to embrace that amazing imagery in the theater. So.
Embrace the Force, Adam.
Yeah.
All right. So that wraps it up for this episode of Post Production Podcast. You can find us at...
email us at postproductionpod@gmail.com. Also on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook probably coming soon. We'll keep you up to date on that. Let us know what you guys think. Is Matrix a classic? What are your thoughts on like the other two? Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, take a listen, give us a review, give us a thumbs up.
Yes, please and thank you guys. We really appreciate everyone listening. You guys are all awesome. We love you.
We love you. All right, fantastic. Have a good night.
Bye.
Day, morning, thing.
Have a good one.
Have a great one. Yeah.
Bye.